Anderson, case 24 CF1692, appearances.
88 Ian Vance Curzan and DDA Megan Newport for the state, along with Detective Joanne Donahue.
Anthony Cotton and Jason Finley, good morning, with Maxwell Anderson.
Good morning, everybody. So welcome back. I hope you had a lovely evening. As you recall, Detective Donahue is on the stand at this point in time. We're going to bring him back up and re-swear him, and we are still on the direct examination during the state's case in chief.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
You can please be seated, restate, and respell your name for the record, please.
My name is Casey Donahue, C-A-S-E-Y D-O-N-A-H-U-E.
Just give me 1 second here. This was working a minute ago. All right. Detective Donahue, we last left off. You had testified regarding video from 2900 West Lisbon Avenue as well as 1650 North 30th Street. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. I have up here the clip. If I can, I'm going to try to replay the clip from 2900 West Lisbon. All right. I have video file marked starting D2 ending in 7395 or 35.mp4. I'm going to play it from 9:51. It's 7:29:32 a.m. on the video clip. Paused at 10:19. There's a city bus there.
Yes, there is.
Okay. Playing at 10:19. I don't know what that's from. I paused the video while that was happening.
I'm just going to move this back.
All right, playing from 10:26. Paused at 11:03, the TV went out. All right, playing at 11:03.
Who did that? Bravo! The camera is coming, it's slow! Yeah.
Pause at 11:51. Detective, when you first reviewed this video, well, how many times have you reviewed this video, first of all?
I've reviewed it dozens.
And when you listen to the audio, how are you listening to it?
I'm listening to it with a pair of Bose noise canceling headphones.
And what do you hear being yelled during those last minute or so of that clip?
What she's yelling is, he did that, call the fire department, call the ambulance.
The subject that that person is sort of pointing at walks south on 30th and then turns onto Walnut, right?
Yes.
That's the video we watched yesterday?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibits 447 and 448. Are these two screenshots from that video?
Yes, they are.
I move those two exhibits in. It's 447 and 448 and ask to publish.
Any objection?
1 minute, I'm sorry, 1 minute. Can I see those again real quick? No, I don't have any objection.
They're received into evidence. You may publish.
All right, and these screenshots, I have exhibit 190 on the screen here. These screenshots were from the video that we watched yesterday from this building here that I'm circling with my finger, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I'm going to put them up on the elbow here. It's 447. And that's 448. Looks like, tell us what he's wearing.
The subject is wearing dark clothing. The top is a hooded sweatshirt or jacket. The pants are dark pants. It appears that he has like a tan-colored shoes with white sole on them and a camouflage or tan rucksack-style backpack.
He's walking westbound on Walnut on the north sidewalk, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And in that direction, about one block would be the 31st and Galena playground, correct?
Correct.
After Miss Robinson had been reported missing and her car had been found burned behind in the 2900 block there, West Lisbon, were people, including law enforcement as well as family and friends, canvassing that area extensively to try to find any clues about what happened to her?
Yes.
And that was almost round the clock, right?
Yes, it was.
Were you part of that?
I was, yes.
Obviously, you've already talked about you going to these places and getting these videos, but you were also searching what areas around there? And I'll pull the map back up if it helps you.
Am I able to move this back? There's a glare on
As
it.
long as all the jurors can see it, yes. Is that okay, Your Honor?
Is that better for you with the glare?
It is, yes.
Can all the jurors still see? Okay. That's fine. Please proceed.
Okay, you can answer the question. I just want to know what areas you were searching.
Sure. So my initial responsibility was to go and canvass the area for video surveillance. When we noticed the subject go southbound on 30th Street, we then go to the 1651 address on North 30th Street. We then see the subject walking westbound on West Walnut. We then canvassed to the west, and we are unable to locate additional video. So myself, other detectives, and some uniformed officers then conducted a canvass of the playground area. I had knowledge that there were train tracks that were located down in this area right here. We then walked down to the train tracks, canvassing for additional evidence, and that's when we received a call stating that
Objection, hearsay.
State?
I can just ask a follow-up question.
Go ahead.
All right, so you're searching basically, actually, why don't you come down here, Detective? I'm going to have you use this pen or marker, if I have one.
Do you want a Sharpie?
I think I have one, Your Honor, thank you. Why don't you just trace on Exhibit 190 the route you're specifically talking about to help orient us as to where you were searching?
So this is the area that we started at with video surveillance. We then see the subject go down 30th Street and then westbound on West Walnut. We then searched this area right here.
Okay. You can have a seat, thank you.
I know.
Were you there searching on April 5th?
Yes, I was.
That would have been 3 days after Miss Robinson was reported missing.
Yes,
Were you with other detectives?
yes.
And what happened?
We were notified that human remains were discovered in the wooded area just east of the playground.
Who notified you of that?
Detective Casey Donahue.
Did you subsequently assume the responsibility of documenting the scene of where those remains were found?
Yes, I did.
And so this would have been, was it late in the day on April 5th?
It was, yes.
About what time, do you recall?
It was nighttime. I recall that the two pieces of human remains were collected at 1:14 and 1:16 a.m. So we were probably out there for a couple hours at that time.
So from the 5th into the 6th?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just give us an idea of how many people were canvassing that area and searching around that park and that playground, or excuse me, and those train tracks?
During the initial canvass that I was a part of, I would say approximately a dozen.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 191. Is that a map of the 31st and Galena playground?
Yes, it is.
And does it document where the remains that you were involved in recovering were found?
Yes, it does.
Move 191 in.
Any objection?
No.
It's received.
Ask to publish.
Go right ahead.
Detective, are you aware of whether or not in the subsequent days after the night from the 5th into the 6th, in the subsequent days, were additional body parts found around that playground?
Yes, they were.
Does this map document where the remains you documented were found as well as those?
Yes.
Got on the screen Exhibit 191, just a zoomed-in map of the 31st and Galena playground. We've got 31st Street on the left side of the map, correct?
Yes.
All right, and on the north side is Walnut.
Yes, that's correct.
The video from 1630 West Walnut, originally when we watched it yesterday, we started at 6:50 a.m. when we saw Sade's car driving westbound, correct?
Yes, that was at 1651 North 30th Street.
Okay, can you tell us, just point out where that video was covering when we saw that car driving?
An approximate would be this area right here.
So kind of facing northwest?
Yes.
All right, so 6:50 a.m., her Civic is going westbound on Walnut past that building, and then it turns north on 30th Street, right?
That would be eastbound on West Walnut and then north on 30th Street.
Thank you for correcting me. So right next to this park.
Correct.
Then at 7:30, a few minutes after, is when we see the subject walking westbound on Walnut, that those screenshots were from, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, you can have a seat, thank you. Going to show you exhibits 109 through 145.
No objection to any of these exhibits.
Could I have the numbers one more time?
109 through 145.
Thank you. Then they're all received at this point.
All right. And may I have permission to publish?
You may.
Okay. These were all photos from the scene that you helped document, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And this was done in the nighttime.
Yes, it was dark when these photographs.
All right, we're going to go through these, Detective. And actually, before we do, can you identify for us on, you don't have to get up, just tell me which one of the body parts locations are we about to be talking about? There's 4 of them up there.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the 2 that are located on the left side of the map right there. The foot location and then the flesh and bone location.
Okay.
More specifically, 2 pieces of flesh were recovered that night.
Exhibit 109. What are we looking at?
That is going to be a photograph of the playground area in the park.
Facing south?
That is facing south, yes.
And then 110, the cameraman just turned to the left a little bit, correct?
Yes,
And 111 turned to the right.
yes.
Okay, and that street right there would be what?
That would be North 31st Street.
Pretty dark area, correct?
It is, yes.
Okay, not a lot going on there?
No.
All right. To the north of this block, well, actually, I'll hold off on that. Next, exhibit 112, cameraman turned which direction?
That's going to be facing east towards North 30th Street.
Okay, so
It's on the other side.
behind those trees would be those train tracks?
Yes, that is correct.
And then on the other side, way on the other side, would be that North 30th Street video camera that we were talking about.
It is, yes.
And then the street that we're seeing on the left, that's Walnut?
Correct.
113. What's this?
That's a more of a zoomed in photo from the prior picture showing West Walnut, and there you can see the bridge that goes over the train tracks towards North 30th Street.
114. Cameraman looks like he just moved over into the street, right?
Yes, that's eastbound on West Walnut.
The sidewalk right here where I'm pointing, is that the sidewalk we were watching that subject walk past?
Yes, it's the north sidewalk.
And then there's this kind of brick building on left-hand side, right?
Yes,
115, little clearer view of that brick building.
yes.
What is that?
I don't even know. I believe it's like an abandoned old factory building.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, did you guys check for cameras from that building and that area?
Yes, we would have checked all buildings, all residences in that area.
Were you able to locate any video footage that showed the Galena playground, the 31st and Galena playground?
Not from that building, no.
Okay. 116. That same building is on the right side, correct?
Yes, that's going to be facing westbound on West Walnut.
117, we're back towards the playground.
Yes,
Okay, so the playground is going to be on the left side and we're looking south.
yes, that is correct.
118,
That is going to be a further camera angle south.
that apartment complex at the end of the street there, what street is that?
That would be Galena.
Any video cameras recovered from there?
I don't recall if there was any footage on the,
119. What orient us here?
this photograph is, it's hard to say, but I believe that's gonna be,
It might be a little bright. Just give me a minute. Okay. The bridge that's on the right side, is that Walnut?
yes, so that's gonna be on the other side of the tracks facing northwest.
This kind of depicts that there's some elevation from the tracks to the playground. Was that how it looked?
Yes, it's hard to see in that photograph, but from both sides of the train tracks, it dips down, elevation-wise.
Maybe 120 will help. I have that on the screen now.
Yes, that's what I would be referring to, how the train tracks are at a lower elevation.
121.
That is a photograph, you can see the playground on the left of the picture, and that's gonna be facing southeast direction, towards the east.
122.
That's gonna be facing east.
And then 123, we just get close, is a closer up of that same thing we see in the middle of 122, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, and then right next to that or near that, 124 is what?
That's gonna be a pathway that leads down to the train tracks.
And into the wooded area, correct?
Yes,
125.
that's gonna be facing south.
All right. Then that pathway, I'm putting up 126, leads to where?
That pathway would be leading to the train tracks, and you can see there's a retaining wall that's pictured there.
Retaining wall that would separate the train track area from the playground, right?
Correct.
Okay. 127. Oh, and these yellow cones, those were items placed there by you or your department?
Yes, I placed the cones there, that depicts where pieces of evidence were located.
127.
That's a closer photograph of the evidence markers. You can see the retaining wall, the pathway down to the train tracks would veer to the left, close to the retaining wall and continue down.
128.
This picture is going to be facing towards Walnut. The train tracks are going to be down to the right-hand side.
Let me put up 129 here. Is this the same tree?
Oh, that is, so I was mistaken.
Okay.
So that's going to be facing south towards Galena, and that's the retaining wall right there
On the left side.
on the left side.
And then we've got a mattress and some other items on the ground, right?
Yes, I don't recall exactly if that was a mattress or a box.
Okay.
Hard to tell.
Was there a significant amount of sort of trash in this playground?
Yes, there was a lot of trash and debris.
At the point that you were that these photos were taken and that you had been alerted to the location of a body part, you had really no information about what would be significant to recover, right?
That is correct.
So items with that amount of trash there, you didn't know what might relate to it or what might not relate to it, meaning the body part.
Correct.
Okay. Did you mark or notice, mark as evidence, certain items that you later came to conclude probably had nothing to do with this?
Yes.
Exhibit 130, that's just the retaining wall, correct?
It is, yes.
131. Looks like cone 8 on the right, lower right there.
Yes, that's like an overall photograph of an area that evidence was recovered.
And then 132. Items 9 and 10, which are located in the woods near item 8. What are those items?
So item number 9 is going to be a smaller piece of flesh that was recovered, and number 10 I documented as a larger piece of flesh.
133 is going to be a closer, slightly closer view. .134 is going to be a close-up of number 9. And 135 will be a close-up of number 10. .136, number 9. 137. Is this sort of just an image of the retaining wall in the relation to where those items were found? Those body parts of flesh?
Yes.
Okay. How big were items 9 and 10, if you could describe?
Detective Donahue, can you pull that mic back around towards you, please? Thank you.
The smaller piece of flesh was approximately 2 by 2 inches. The larger piece of flesh was approximately 6 by 6 inches.
Here's 138. What is that cone down there? Number 11?
Yes, that's going to be evidence marker number 11.
And do you know what number 11 was?
Yes, number 11 was a human foot.
.139. The foot is to the left of the evidence marker?
It is, yes. .140. What's that? That is a closer photograph of the human foot that was recovered.
.141.
So in this photograph, we're depicting that the toenail polish on the human foot was pink.
And this foot on the top of the image, that is the retaining wall, right?
It is, yes.
So the foot was right up against the retaining wall?
Yes.
142. When the foot was found, was it covered by some leaves there?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead to 144. Another view of where the foot was. And 143 and 145 are going to be images of the foot. The cut line at the ankle, how would you describe it, Detective?
It appears to be a straight cut that the foot was severed.
.145. Top view from the ankle.
Yes.
Are you able to see that same straight cut just from the top?
Yes.
And there's another piece of flesh coming off of the ankle, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So in sum, Detective, when that night, when you documented that scene, that would have been the night of April 5th, and then going over the midnight hour into April 6th, you located a total of 3 separate pieces of human remains, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Can you just reiterate what those 3 separate things were?
Yes, the 3 separate human remains were a smaller piece of flesh, approximately 2 by 2 inches. The second piece of flesh was larger, approximately 6 by 6. And it was the left foot, human foot.
Was the medical examiner called to the scene?
Yes, medical legal death investigator is their official term that responded.
That would be your standard practice would be when you have a homicide or a case that involves recovery of human remains that you would summon the Milwaukee County medical examiners to the scene.
Yes, that is correct.
And do they then recover the human remains?
Yes,
Was that done here?
it was, yes.
Was there a specific case number assigned to the recovery of the remains we just discussed?
Yes, there was.
Was it medical examiner case number 24-02399?
Yes.
As we had indicated before, as you indicated before, there were a number of other items in addition to the human remains that you marked with an evidence cone, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Were any of those other items deemed to be relevant in any way?
No, they were not.
Could you just give us a rundown of what those other items were?
Yes, we located, I believe it was 5 spent casings. We located a condom that appeared to be used at some point. It was outside of its wrapper. We located a doll that was screwed into a tree. I recovered screws that were next to that doll. There was a burlap sack that initially we believed may contain human remains. When we opened that burlap sack, it was a dog that was placed in the sack, and it was rotting at that point.
Casings, right?
Yes.
Did you mention that? Okay. Those casings, were they like worn?
It was hard to tell how long that they've been there.
In some, those other items seem to have been items that had been there for quite some time. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Lastly, Detective, what we just talked about, flesh located in this little area here, correct?
Yes.
It says and bone, but that, you didn't find the bone on this side, right?
No, that was found at a later time.
And then the foot was right about here.
Yes.
And that retaining wall is basically, you can't see it on here because it's kind of contained within those trees and brush. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good morning. What was in the backpack the person was wearing?
I don't know.
You've studied these videos, you said dozens of hours, hundreds of hours you've spent watching the videos?
I believe I stated that I watched the videos dozens of times.
Okay, thank you, dozens of times. Can you see blood on the backpack?
No.
One would expect that if they were putting body parts in a backpack, you'd see blood on it, wouldn't you?
That's fair to say, sure.
In the dozens of times you've watched, and when you say dozens of times you've watched the tapes, we're referring to really all of the tapes that you had canvassed throughout that area, right? Because you've watched all of them multiple times.
Yes.
Did the car, the Honda Civic, did Sade's Honda Civic ever stop at the park here that's on the screen on Exhibit 191 at Galena?
I don't know if it did or not.
You're not sure?
No.
And that's because there's no video that actually shows that car ever stopping at that park, right?
That is correct.
And similarly, it's true that there is no video of a person getting out of that car at the park at Galena. You would agree with that as well?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Sure. There's no video of a person getting out of that Civic at this park area at Galena, is there?
No, there was not.
Certainly we have the video we've seen of a person walking, but I want to talk about the videos of the car. In all the videos of the car that you've watched, who's driving the car? Can you see?
You cannot see who's driving, no.
Can you see a gender of a person?
No.
So then I'm assuming you can't tell the race of the person in the videos you've watched?
Not in the vehicle itself.
And we saw that one clip yesterday. Where there was the passenger window was going up. Do you remember that video?
Yes.
And that was actually when the car was going sort of near that playground area, right?
Yes, that would have been eastbound on West Walnut, just prior to turning north on 30th Street.
Sure. And in that video, when the passenger window was going up, Mr. Vance Curzan asked you about whether you could see a passenger, but you also couldn't see a driver in that video, right?
That is correct.
And when you look at that video, when you study it closely, can you see, are there body parts of any sort visible in the car when you look in on that video?
I could not see, no.
Now, we watched video this morning again of Lisbon Avenue. That was a liquor store, 2900 West Lisbon, where that tape, that footage was secured from, correct?
Yes.
And you were involved in actually getting that video. You talked to the owner of the liquor store and acquired the video, right?
Yes, that is correct.
He was cooperative with you and turned it over, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you also, you don't work alone, you work with Detective Ryan Casey also, don't you?
Yes.
So you're Casey Donahue, but we also have Detective Ryan Casey, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And he's part of the homicide unit as well, so he's trained on these types of matters.
He is, yes.
And is it true, would you agree with me that oftentimes when two people work together, one detective might do the report, another detective might not do the report, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And so sometimes when people are partnered up, if you work closely with Ryan Casey, he might be the one to draft the report on April 5th. You might be the one to draft the report on a different date, right?
Yes.
You would agree that on April 5th was the day when you and Detective Ryan Casey went to Lisbon Liquor to get those videos, right?
Yes.
And in fact, the Mr. Singh, Parmejit Singh, Paramejet, took you into their room where they have the DVR and he turned over those tapes, right?
Yes.
And you guys actually watched them together right away on April 5th, didn't you?
Yes, we did review them while we were at the liquor store.
You would agree with me that and now this is 3 days after the incident, 3 days after April 2nd, right?
Yes.
Between April 2nd and that date, you had never we saw the two women that were on the street in front of the liquor store, right?
Yes, that is correct.
But between April 2nd and April 5th, neither you nor your partner had ever spoken to those women, right?
No, I have not spoken to either of those witnesses. I cannot speak for Detective Casey, whether he had spoke with them at any time or not.
Okay, and the two of you watched, right, you can only speak to who you've talked to. You have not talked to either of those women, right?
I have not.
Now, on April 5th, when you watched the tape, you would agree that that there was a report written about the two of you watching the tape, fair to say?
Yes.
In that when you guys watched the tape, you could see the women on the sidewalk and that they were pointing in the direction of a person. You noted that, right?
Yes,
But you would also agree that in the report, it's indicated they're yelling something, quote, inaudible. Would you agree with that?
that is what Detective Ryan Casey's report reflects. My observations and what I heard on the video is what I testified to.
Sure. Did you ever draft a report that reflects your impressions of the tape?
No,
Now, eyewitnesses, well, how long have you been a detective? I'm sorry.
since 2020.
Certainly, eyewitness testimony can be a form of evidence in any criminal case, right?
Yes,
And it can be an important form of evidence because it can help shape your investigation, for starters, right?
yes,
And it can help you pursue leads. An eyewitness might tell you to look at a certain area, so that's another reason it could be useful, right?
yes,
And an eyewitness could be right. That's another reason they could be useful, because an eyewitness may be accurate with what they're saying, correct?
yes. When we speak with eyewitnesses, we will want to corroborate any sort of information that's given to us.
And they can also be wrong.
Yes, that is correct.
They can make a mistaken identification.
Yes,
There's ways to try to figure that out, video surveillance, DNA evidence, but eyewitnesses can be wrong. Right?
is that a question?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
And-
they can.
In their ability to observe, in this case, for example, we watched the video again this morning, and you saw the woman who's pointing, right? The woman who's pointing and making the statement. She really only looks over in that area for about 6 to 7 seconds. Would you agree with that?
In which area are you referring to?
The 2900 West Lisbon footage, when we see the man walking across the field and she goes, he did it, or whatever she said, she only looks over in that direction for about 6 to 7 seconds. Would you agree with that?
I would have to watch the video again, but that is an approximation that,
Okay. And obviously, she may you would agree with me that a person who is making an observation, their view can be impacted if they're under the influence, right?
yes, amongst other things,
What are some of the other things?
stress,
Weather conditions?
yes,
Obviously, if a person knows someone or doesn't know someone, that can be an important consideration too, right?
yes,
In terms of making identifications as a detective, there's a procedure you can use as a detective to try to, I'm sorry, give me a minute, please. As a detective, there's procedures you can use to try to make an identification, right?
yes, that is correct,
You can do what's called a live lineup,
correct,
where you take a group of people, one might be a suspect, some people aren't suspects, and you put them out in a room, and there's a process to it, but essentially the eyewitness can choose if they see the person.
yes, that is correct,
And there's also photo arrays that can be done where specific photos are used of, for example, Max Anderson, and then other photos of other people to show, is this the person you saw, right?
yes,
And that, you never did that, you yourself never did that with either of these two women, right?
I did not, no,
Now,
Detective Donahue, can you pull that mic towards you again? Thank you.
in the woman on the street who's pointing, I'm sorry, you never had her do any photo array or a live lineup. Do I have that right?
I did not speak with her, no,
Now, she never yelled, he threw a lighter. Did you ever hear that on any of the tape you watched? He threw a lighter?
I did not, no,
Did you investigate any other car fires at that location, either before or after this incident?
I am not an arson investigator, so that is not a part of my duties, so I cannot speak on whether other car fires occurred at that location or not.
You said that there was basically canvassing around the clock. Did I have that correct?
Yes,
When you say that, are you talking from April 2nd when the car is lit on fire until until April 5th or 6th? What did you mean by that? When did the around-the-clock canvassing start?
I am unaware of the exact date that it started. The sheriff's department did reach out to the Milwaukee Police Department, and they asked us to assist in recovering video pertaining to this case. I can't say which exact day that was, but it was, an approximation would be maybe 2 days after.
Got it, April 4th or April 5th, somewhere around there.
Correct.
And in between April 2nd and April 4th or April 5th, no body parts are found in that area.
That was the first time any sort of human remains were discovered at that park.
April 5th.
Yes,
Max was arrested April 4th, you know that.
I don't know exactly which day he was arrested.
Okay. The person with the backpack on, that person wasn't running.
No,
In any of the videos you watched, was that person running?
no,
Or appeared to even be in a hurry, right? Didn't even appear to be really in a hurry.
no,
And when you looked in that park on April 5th, when you examined the park, one of the things you just said you found were spent bullet casings.
yes,
Well, that's evidence of a shooting, right?
yes,
Used condom, whatever, make of that, whatever you will, could be two people had sex, obviously, right?
yes,
Okay. You found a bag, a burlap sack with remains in it of a dog. That could be evidence of animal cruelty, right?
correct,
High crime area, agreed?
yes,
Meaning that area surrounding that park and even Lisbon Avenue.
yes,
There's lots of police response in that area.
yes,
Now, the person on the tape with the backpack, you pointed out the shoes yesterday, the white shoes. Remember that?
I don't believe I stated white shoes.
I thought you said white soles on the shoes. You were directing us to look at. No?
Yeah, so it would be towards the bottom sole area.
Okay, that's what you were pointing out though, right?
Yes,
That person did not appear to ever have gloves on, did he?
I don't know.
Well, you never saw gloves on that person on any of the videos, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
And nor did the person appear to be wet.
I'm sorry?
Nor did the person appear to be wet.
Wet?
Wet. Covered in water, soaking, right?
You can't tell from the video that I was watching.
Okay.
No, I know.
And then, Judge, I'm just going to approach the witness, if I may, and show a few exhibits. It'll be 305, 306, 307, and 308. Okay?
Go right ahead.
If that's all right. I'm going to start by just showing you these pictures and asking you to look at these.
Yes.
You got a chance to look at those?
Yes, I did.
Could you start by identifying Exhibit 305, please?
Yes, that's a photograph of evidence markers 6 and 7, and what is depicted to be a doll screwed to the tree.
So if we look down, that's what you're talking about, that doll right there?
Yes,
And then Exhibit 306. Same thing?
yes,
And then 307, same thing?
Yes,
308? Is that the doll?
yes, it is.
And it looks, it might not be perfectly visible. It appears that there's a screw right in the middle of the forehead and then two of them on the eyes.
Yes,
And is that blood smear on the side of the tree as well, the red substance?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. So some person, and this is in the same park where you find human flesh, right?
Yes,
Move these exhibits 306, I'm sorry, 305 through 308 into evidence, please.
Any objection?
No objection to the admissibility, however, the numbering of them, I think, is going to conflict with exhibits we've already numbered. But we can address that later.
Okay.
That's my only.
I will receive them, and actually, I think we're going to renumber them right now. And
Okay.
we're going to renumber them as 50,
Can we start at 600?
600?
Yes, please.
Let's go to 800 to be on the safe side. So we'll do it as 801, 802, 803, and 804.
And then, Judge, while Attorney Finling is marking those, is it okay if I proceed? So Detective, then, you had these photos taken because obviously that's not a typical thing to see in general, right?
yes. When I did my initial walkthrough and began to photograph and collect evidence, at that point, early on in the investigation, we don't know what's relevant and we don't know what's not relevant. I was informed that homeless encampments near train tracks often place these dolls as a kind of a protection symbol.
Interesting. So the homeless encampment you're talking about right below, essentially right below that crime scene, right?
It would have been near, it was further down
Yeah,
south.
further south of if you were to go down on the train tracks, then a little bit south of that, right?
Yes,
So you attributed that to potentially the homeless encampment, but you actually, you went to the homeless encampment and talked to people, right?
yes, I did.
You never asked anybody about that doll, did you?
Objection calls for hearsay.
No,
No, it's actually a question, so it wouldn't call for hearsay, and you can answer it if you're able.
I did not know.
Okay, so the body part, the tissue samples, the body parts that were located, obviously those were kept as evidence and sent to the lab, right? The crime lab,
Yes,
for further testing.
correct.
Similar to how, did you ever direct any of those items to be tested for DNA?
I did not send any of the items to the crime lab.
That would be some other person to ask about that, right?
Yes,
Okay, those are all my questions.
State?
Just to clarify, Detective, it's not just that the disposal of those body parts wasn't captured on video, it's that there was no video of that playground. Is that a correct statement?
that is correct.
Nothing else?
Defense?
No,
Thank you, Detective. State your next witness.
State calls Detective Jose Flores.